Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Shoney Show. And today we have a return guest who was on the Shoney Show about, would it have been about 18 months ago? About 18 months ago, 2
I'd
years?
say, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it must be about that now.
The crazy thing is, not only is this guy absolutely amazing, and the last time that we did the podcast, out of, by the way, about 400, I think it's ranking right now 11th or 12th in most listened to, which is absolutely class. But the really cool thing is, in that, let's say, 18 months to 2 years, the evolution of you and what you do and what you provide to the marketplace has really, really evolved. So Graham is the man, the face, the legend of graphics for coaches, and he has been the go-to guy for high-level coaches for all of their content creation. So we're talking images, carousels, ad images, cover banners on groups, on Facebook pages. If they have anything that needs design, Graham is the guy that the top coaches go to in the marketplace. And he's absolutely incredible. He's a success coach inside the private coaching as well. And he helps all of our clients with so many of these different bits and pieces as well on a daily basis. And it's incredible. And he's still the go-to guy for that. However, at the same time, Graham has also become the go-to guy for systems, automations, and many other things since he's founded FMS, which is an incredible system that saves a ton of money. And by the way, this isn't a plug, and I don't have any affiliation, and I don't get a single penny if anybody signs up to it. But we've got so many people who have signed up who are in the private coaching. Again, I haven't even pitched it to them. They just found it and they used it, and it saves a ton of money. It replaces Calendly, Typeform, basically any of the apps that you have, and takes it all into one easy to use system on a low monthly price point. But Graham, across the board, from images, design, and all those things that we would have talked about 18 months ago, now with automations and systems and saving coaches so much time, energy, effort, and saving them a lot of money whilst they're at it with growing their coaching business and managing their clients. There's so much that we can talk about, and there's going to be so many golden nuggets that people can take away from this. But I'm interested, first question here, Graham, how do you describe yourself now? Go for it.
Mate, thank you very much for the intro. A bit blown away there, to be honest. And it's funny how things have evolved over the last 3 years or so, especially like the last 18 months. It's crazy. When I come to describe myself now, it's quite difficult because I was known as the go-to graphics guy, the guy who makes Facebook banners. In fact, I started off just doing like Facebook banners, which evolved then into the content creation, the Photoshop design, Canva, Instagram, Facebook. And then it became into kind of the systems, the tech, the kind of the geek who kind of knows everything inside out, because that's just the way I am. So describe myself now, it's more like helping coaches generate more leads and sales, but through content creation and like strategic marketing systems. So it's not just about the design, it's about the after we've got the click. So we get the click first through engaging content, then it's what happens after that. And it's that part that I'm really focusing on now, because it saves the effort that you have to put in for your marketing if something in the back end helping you out.
Yeah, absolutely class. And well, with that then, if we're focused more on generating clients, which is obviously a big reason why anybody listens to this podcast in the first place, you're the go-to guy for design and graphics and all of those things. You know my standpoint on content creation and the content that you're putting out there on a daily basis. I feel that content touches everything. It's not just a daily opportunity for leads and sales if it's done correctly. A lot of coaches look at it like a time sap. It's only a time sap if you're spending a lot of time and effort on it and it's not the right type of content. If it's the right type of content, it's a daily opportunity for leads and sales, but it also affects your Facebook ads. It also affects if you've got a new product launch. It also affects your emails if people are also following you on socials. It touches so many different things. But I'm interested, what is your take with content today and how content can be used, how it is being used to generate coaching clients for the people that you work with?
Wow, that's a question and a half. So I like to rewind the clock first, and we think back 7-8 years ago when Instagram was just full of food pictures. That's all it was. Even coaches back then, when online coaching was really in its infancy, they were still posting pictures of the food, meal prep, things like that. And then people started posting transformation pictures, and they just blew up. So everyone was posting transformation pictures, loads of interaction, loads of engagement. But then everything on social media has got like a time span. It's got It's got like the infancy stage where it's like new, then it starts going up and up and up and up into a peak, then it's going to hit a trough. It doesn't mean that because it's down lower in terms of engagement that it's not going to have the same impact, because it still will. It's just not what people are focusing on. So it's all like the evolution of like how people see the content, how people consume it, and it's making sure that the content you put out is matched to your clients. So that's never changed. Like if you're targeting the right people, the right type of message, right type of content, you're not going to go wrong. It's only when distraction of what other people are doing, other coaches are doing, you start copying them, that's when the effect really starts to get dampened. You see it a lot when people start hopping niche from niche, like the one minute they're coaching busy dads, then it's like coaching like entrepreneurs, etc. And it's like the hopping, just trying to find out what everyone else is doing. I'm going to focus on them rather than just doing what you were doing before, dialing down, doubling down on the people you really want to work with, people you help, and that's how you're going to get the best results. So when it comes to social media, one of the problems as well now is because the advancement of AI and Chat GPT, people are getting a little bit lazy in terms of content and copy, and it comes across. It's like AI, as good as it is for like ideation and creating ideas for your content, it's not good for the creative part because it doesn't have that, the emotion side, it doesn't have the human brain. It doesn't know the way we work, the way we function, because it's like, it's, you know, noughts and ones. It's like, if this, then that. But as humans, certain different things trigger us. So like what triggers an AI bot is going to be something that triggers a different, like, natural emotion in a human. And I think it's just kind of bringing that human touch back to your content to make it more relatable as a person, rather than just sounding like a robot and 99% of any other coaches out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with the AI side of things, because I've wanted Chat GPT to be able to take over some systems and strategies and different things and deliverables for us as well, right? Just like every other person hoped that it would when it came out. And it's been really useful for ideas more than anything. However, I see the exact same thing. Like we provide like 25 content templates every single month for private coaching clients. And it's daily content, and some are proof-based, some are education-based, and so on and so forth. Whenever I've tried so many different prompts, I've tried taking really great pieces of content and saying, give me variations of this and different things. It never comes out the way that you want it and the way that you hope. And you hope that you're going to see a great piece of content that is even better than the thing you put your effort into. Like that would be the massive win. But every single time, it's like you say, it's those ones and twos, and it doesn't even have like the data of like what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis really moves the needle. Like for instance, we found with offers and super spike offers that if you simply change it from like, you know, you need to apply now, you need to move quickly, or, you know, anything like that, and you change it to, I'm going to choose the 5 people based upon X, Y, and Z. Not only do you get more people coming to you, but they come to you with a different frame of mind. They come to you basically selling themselves to you as to why they should get to buy your coaching program. It's an amazing thing that we were lucky to stumble upon and realize when it happened, but none of those little details come through in a Chat GPT template yet. At least yet, it hasn't come through. So
I think you're right. And it's like, it's not got the kind of the personality, but it doesn't also have like the psychology. It doesn't understand human psychology about how we react to certain phrases. Like you mentioned about the call to action, as in like, we're going to choose. And it's similar to like when you have buttons on websites where it's like, you know, add to cart versus like, I want this now. And it's those little subtleties that it doesn't quite know yet. As like when you're into marketing, you know that these little slight tweaks can make a massive difference in conversions and getting the DMs in your inbox. And I think like over time it will evolve. Whether it's going to get as good as we want it, who knows? Time will tell.
Excellent. Superb. And just so we stay on the content side of things for a little bit longer, because I want to extract some absolute gold from your brain. So another side here is if we were to look at the different styles of content that you can put out there, as in, I shouldn't even say styles, because that could suggest, you know, proof versus education. I'm thinking more along the lines of reels versus longer form video, versus carousels, versus static images, versus any other type of piece of content that we can put out there on Instagram or Facebook or maybe even LinkedIn. Is there anything that you're seeing right now? I know you're very data focused. You're always coming like with the gold inside the private coaching with relation to, here's something that I've realized with carousels in the last 2 weeks or whatever it may be. So what are you seeing right now in terms of what is delivering the best reach, what is delivering the best post saves, what is some of the key things that people could be doing better with their content to hit some of these metrics in a better way.
Oh, that's a good one. So we'll start with Reels. It's like hot topic. Everyone knows about Reels, how good they are for engagement, how they potentially are good for engagement. Now, some of what I'm going to say might sound quite negative towards video content, and that is not the idea. It was just to kind of get a few points across, which a lot of people miss when it comes to video content. So it has a shorter lifespan. It's very, very short lived. It's not got the longevity as like long form and even like short written form, because it's very like, on the moment, people sat there on the phone, they're like bum scrolling, they're just going through, bored on the phone. They're not taking it in and absorbing the information as if they're reading something with their eyes. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people on Instagram who do really, really well, and you get some really good viral views, and it's definitely going to grow your audience. But if you think back to if you're watching telly last night and you watched a particular program, and I said, right, what were the adverts in between, you would not remember. And people don't remember what they saw. They remember maybe a snippet of it. They're not going to remember the person's name. They might give them a follow, but it doesn't mean that that content was, that they might find that video really funny or really engaging, but the rest of the content might be way off the mark. And it's that thing that we've got to be careful of. A lot of coaches you'll see like really high reach, really high engagement, and then they'll start going all in on it, trying to get almost like the dopamine hit of getting 50,000 views, 100,000 views. Like, I need to beat it. So like an example I saw this morning was like how it feels when your kids are up all night, and it's like someone there, like, hair all a mess, like 3 coffees in the hand and stuff. And yeah, it's engaging, it's funny. If you're a parent, you get it. But one way of doing it better would be something like, kids been up all night, here's 3 things you can do to, get on with a better day or have a better day. And it's that kind of subtle difference at the end, which is going to, and you can even say like part 1. And then you're going to get people, oh, I like that. And it's a kind of different audience you're getting. You're telling more of a story about how people can overcome a problem, rather than here's a problem, it's dead funny, isn't it? You'll only get it if you're in this niche. But if you're going to give them a solution to that problem as well, then that's the content that's really going to get people in. So it's not a case of don't do video content. It's just try and do it a bit smarter in the way of, you're not going to just go for reach. You're trying to build a connection with that person, because ultimately you've got a solution to their problem. I think that's the little bit where people just slightly get the blurred line on.
Yeah, and with the video side of things, it's one of those ones, isn't it? I think this is what you're alluding to anyway, is that you need to know the intention behind it. And so, well, you're bringing a lot more understanding to what that intentions are and what video can actually do or not do for your coaching business, and how you can, of course, tweak a reel. So it's not that reels are bad or reels are good. It's that, well, what is your intention behind it? Yeah. And if you're going for funny, then you might just get that viral video, but maybe you won't have the impact that you're looking for on, moving people through know, like, and trust, making them product aware, helping them into the DMs or into that booked call calendar, or whatever it may be. And I remember like a year ago or however long ago it was now, when IGTV was still a thing, and everybody in the private coaching was like, because we had IGTV in the content structure is like one a week at least or something like that. And so many people were saying, but like, why would we do that? When I put out a reel, I get 1,250 people that see it. When I put out an IGTV, sometimes only 112 people see it. So it's like 10 times the amount of views. And I said, well, what do you think is going to have a bigger impact on selling a coaching program that's £1,500? That 27-second clip that's quite funny, or the 7.5 minute video that walks them through the 5 steps to achieve their dream result? And so it's like video is an amazing tool, but people definitely need to know intention behind the different things that they're creating. So yeah, that's my take anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And there's another thing as well. I think what is getting lost a little bit, and I kind of got a strange analogy here, but if you think back to classic films, like all the best ones that everyone knows, they're all made in like, 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s. And then nowadays, like there's some decent films out there, but they don't have the same storyline. They don't have the same like impact as what they used to have. And if you think of like back then, very little special effects. It was all based on storytelling, emotions, really getting people hyped up and buying into a story. And now it's all about which film has the most of special effects and which has spent the most on special effects. And it's becoming a little bit like that in reels in certain aspects, where yeah, people like it was the Hormozy style, like, you know, captions, and then now it's all the funky transitions and swipes and backgrounds changing and all that. And it's almost like who can put the most effects into a video to win the audience. And it's funny because a lot of people, I'd probably be like an ideal client for a lot of coaches. You know, I've been in relatively decent shape before, could get in better shape, you know, busy working dad, couple of businesses, etc. I'd be someone who'd be pretty good to get on board. You know, I'm pretty good to market to, but most people don't really know how to market to me. They all focus on what other coaches are doing, putting out that style of content. I mean, I've had my phone on mute for the last 8 years. I never, you know, I don't listen to anything at all. So people trying to get me, then it's like long form, or it's got to be something that's not going to, you know, send me into a fit because there's all this flashing lights and things. It's just not what I consume. So if you're going to create, you know, content like that, make sure it is aimed at the right people, and you're not spending like hundreds and thousands on, you know, fancy editing when really it's not hitting the mark. That's really the one, like the last thing I want to say on Reels, except one thing that can have an impact. So right at the start, I said the lifespan's really short, and it is, you know, it's gone 24 hours, it's gone. But what I've noticed with clients is that if we make a Reels cover, like something that looks really good, that people can just, when they do go onto your profile, they see it, there's far more chance of them clicking on it and then watching your Reels. If someone lands on your profile, and we all want people profile visits, that's what we want people on our profile to consume our content. But if all they can see is a bank of videos, they're not going to scroll through every single one to find out what the content is. So at least having some form of cover on the Reels can make a massive difference. It doesn't have to be like a highly designed one. It could be something like, you know, a faded version of the, like a screenshot and then some text over it. But doing something like that is going to it's going to help the future reach of it, not just like the immediate reach.
Great tip. Absolutely class. And then if we were to look at static imagery, so whether it is just single image or carousels, what you've seen at the moment is working really well, and delivering the data on the other side with like reach, post saves, comments, and things like that.
At the moment, I'm seeing like carousels have peaked again. They've always been really good. They've always been quite stable. But if you've got a carousel that has a lot of information on it, spread over multiple slides, but isn't like paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, it's like short form content, but swipeable, they're doing really, really well in terms of engagement, also saves as well, because carousels, as we know, are highly savable. There's too much information for one person to remember in one image, so they always give it a save. A really good metric to use. It's apparently it's better for the algorithm. Saves are better than likes. I don't know what the comparison data is, but we're seeing like with private clients, you know, a decent, like a well-written and structured carousel, you're talking between 200 and 400 saves. And it's also the same for like infographic content. So if you're going to give out tips to people that they either can't remember or need to remember. So for example, if you're going to give out, and it's one we created recently, was like my top reads, and it's like a screenshot of the book, and it's going to be a quick synopsis or, you know, a quick summary of it. People are going to click on it and they're going to save it because, oh, that's what the coach has said about this book. So if it's like 5 top books on sleep, and you're going to, you know, you're going to go through them, and you can have it as either individuals or you can have it as a carousel. People are going to save the hell out of it because it's information that they can't remember and they want to refer back to. And it's just that kind of content is doing really well, because it's information based, but it's relative to that person.
Excellent. Superb. And is there anything to be said, in your opinion, for strategy around single images?
It's a strange one. Single images, it depends on like the context of it. Like lifestyle photos can work well. All single images can work well. They're performing better now than they did probably 6 months ago, since they've like tipped it back away from Reels to more of like image based. It depends on what your audience consume. Like if I've got two accounts on my phone, so I've got my personal, I've got my business, and what I see on my personal account is massively different to what I see on my business account. So it depends on like the content you're putting out. If it's hitting the mark, then, you know, still image content can still do really well. Like pictures of food still do really, really well. It's one of those. But do your audience just want to see food recipes? Are they saving it just because it looks good, or they'll probably never cook it, but the fact is they've saved it. It's getting the balance right. So like you can have really good lifestyle images. We know people who are great photographers and get some cracking images. But if you go onto someone's profile and all there is pictures of them, it's like, I'm not going to click on every single one just to find out what they're saying about something. And they might just come off. So that's why there's a really good balance to have as like design content with headings on, maybe a bit of infographics, maybe some carousels and Reels, because Reels are the ones that are going to get you reach, but you're going to build the relationships up more with like the static images, the carousels and the single images.
Excellent. Superb. And before we transition into time-saving systems and strategies and apps and whatever you're seeing is working right now for saving coaches time, or indeed helping them get more clients or retain clients for longer, if we're to look at the system side of things and also content, is there anything at the moment that you're personally using, or you're suggesting that other people use as apps or systems that actually play into their socials, whether it's about creating content, scheduling content, or indeed anything else?
So there's a few different ways of doing it. Obviously, a really good way, we want to get people's email addresses as early as we can in the relationship, really, because we know that email marketing is going to have it's going to have a longer effect. It's like the value of an email address as opposed to like an Instagram handle is, the difference is night and day. So wanting to get that information from them. How we get that information is going to vary. Is it going to be a casual conversation inside the DMs, or is it going to be like using a lead magnet then with like follow-up tech that you can use then to kind of automate the process? So there's various platforms. Obviously the Fitness Marketing Suite, which is mine. Then we've got other things like ManyChat, which can also get people from your content into the DMs and onto like your email list as such. But you've also got things like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, which you can build landing pages on as well. There's no right or wrong when it comes to doing this. It's just the efficiency and like the cost to you as a coach. Because if you're going to spend a lot of time creating something valuable like a lead magnet, which has got, you want to make this as valuable as possible. You want to give them as much information that they're wondering why you didn't charge for it because it's that good. That's the kind of level you want to give. So if you're going to go into spending, a few days, weeks, or however long you're going to spend building a course or building some form of really good guide, you want to be making sure that on the back end, you're not spending all this time answering all these questions or answering all these DMs that come in. That's the part that really needs to be automated, but also it needs to be robust. So you're not going to be breaking things. That email addresses aren't going to be getting lost. You've worked hard to get those email addresses and those contacts. You don't want to lose them. So that's where it kind of transitions into what Fitness Marketing Suite is, where it's got everything all in one place. So it's got your lead generation in terms of email capture. So you can capture contact details when you build like a simple web page or a landing page, a funnel into a thank you page. But then it's also got the back end where it's going to deliver a thank you email or a thank you DM on Instagram or Facebook. So you can actually have it when a lot of coaches now will say like, DM me the word interested if you want a copy. Then you can have it automate a DM saying anyone who replies the word interested is then going to get a DM in the conversations on the back end. Then you can follow up like 5 minutes, 10 minutes later if you want to and say, right, cool. Mind just pass me your email address. It's quite a long message and there's a file attached. Can I just send it via email? As soon as they pass you the email address, you can have it where the system will deliver an email to them with a guide, rather than having to manually go into your like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, add them as a contact, send them an email or send them a manual email. You've worked really, really hard to get that email address. So the good thing is that once you've got it, you should be a bit more like relaxed. So yeah, leads are coming in and I'm not having to do as much digging as I would do had these systems not be in place. And there are a lot of systems out there you can use. Like I mentioned, ManyChat. ManyChat can also take people from the DMs on Facebook or on Instagram and it can communicate with them on your behalf. But it's just a case of, do you want multiple softwares? Do you want to have to keep using ManyChat, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Typeform, and all those things in one when, all together? It's not just the cost, it's the fact that you need to know how they all work to make sure that they all talk to each other. And the more links you have in a chain, the more susceptible it is to breaking. So when you've got everything like all in one system, it just makes it seamless and more sense.
Excellent. Superb. And so if we then transition solely into systems on the back end, inside coaching businesses that either help coaches get more clients, retain them for longer, or indeed just save a coach a lot of time. What are some things, some strategies, some systems that you're seeing at the moment that are working well?
The three biggest time kind of not drainers as such, but things that are going to cost you the most time in your coaching business. First of all is the onboarding process. And that's an important one because you don't want to lose that client. Like as soon as they've parted with their money, you need to get them on board straight away, delivering the goods, because that's the key part where they're going to ask for a refund, they're going to back out, they're going to get, shouldn't really made that decision, made it on impulse, that kind of thing. So you need to be delivering straight away. And if you can automate that process, so for example, as soon as someone makes that payment, they get an email, they get a thank you video, they get a welcome gift. You can even have it now where it can say, for example, purchase something on Amazon and send it to them. There's loads of things you can do. If you want to give them the best experience. You need to make sure that you, like, from day one, when they sign up, you're just delivering. Not only is it going to give a better experience, it's also going to be pressure off you, because there's nothing worse as being a coach and you get there and you have like 3 or 4 signups in a day, and then you're up there till midnight writing all the welcome emails, attaching all the files, wonder if it's been sent, wonder if it's been, if they've actually got it, it's not landing in the spam. So when you've got a process set up on the back end that straight away that as soon as they've signed up, it's automatically done for you, but it's like a pressure off your back. It's saving you time every single time. And especially if you like scaling, through things like paid media, etc., or maybe even running products where you don't need a sales call and they're just coming on the back end, you need that system in, because the last thing you're going to be doing is getting stressed out, missing onboarding and things like that. So that would, that would be the first one. The second one would be lead tracking. So we've already talked about lead magnets. We need to know where the leads are in the process. Like, when did they download the guide? Have they read the guide? Have they opened it? Have you recontacted them since? How did they find it? There's all these questions you can find out, but you won't know if you're not managing it. If they're just going to download a guide and you're like, all right, what happened to that lead? Did they actually read it? So you need to have some kind of follow-up system in place, whether it's, a sequence of, say, for example, 5 emails over the next 5 days with the main call to action is trying to drive them to a call. Are you going to follow up 7 days later asking if they've read it? All these little things can be done in the back end without you having to think, oh, right, how many people have downloaded it? Where are they at? I don't know where they are. I'm going to lose them. Because what you got to think about, the online space it's not as competitive as what people think, but it is saturated. And there's a lot of people competing for the same space. And it's like, you need to make sure that you're not letting these people get away, because if they go away from you, they're going to go to someone else. And also that a lot of people who are going to apply for your coach, they've probably had a coach in the past. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing to them, they're getting a good experience, not just getting the same DMs or the same recipe books, or, it needs to be something that there's going to be of value to them, and they're going to stay warm within your network. Excellent. The third one would be the check-in process. Again, it's like part of the coaching. It's a key part of coaching. We know the accountability. We know we need to, see how the client's making progress, because at the end of the day, clients getting the results is what they pay for, and then that social proof is going to sell more clients. So we need to make sure the check-in process is robust and it's not as time consuming as what it can be. So even taking away things like having to send an email like first thing on a Saturday morning or last thing Friday night, automate it, just get it done so it's scheduled on repeat. And then what we've also done here is we've got it that when people answer on the check-in questions, there's like one where it's like traffic light. So there's one, and they don't know. It might just be asking a simple question like, how's this week been? And 3 answers might be, really struggle this week, don't know why, can't put my finger on it. Number 2 might have been, generally okay, slipped up a few times. And then the third one might be, great, no problems at all. But you can actually have that grade as red, amber, green, and it'll go into your system color coded, so the people who need the most help. And it's not a case of like leave the people who are green just to get on with it. You can still reach out and contact them, but it might give you a bit of a pattern like, these people need a bit more help, I'm going to reach out and drop them a message. And you can also have it where it could actually reach out and drop the message automation like, hey, just seen your check-in, because it can pull data from the check-in, just see you answered this, anything you want to chat about. And again, it's just a touch point that's going to help retain clients, because you're coming across as caring, and you can actually follow up naturally as well rather than using the computer, but it brings you aware of these problems that might be starting to arise in the back end.
Yeah, excellent. Amazing 3 right there. And if we were to go back to the first one there with, so remind me, so the first one was
lead tracking.
No, the first one,
onboarding,
that was the one. Yeah, lead tracking is number 2. So with the onboarding side of things, you made such a good point there about reducing refund rates. Really, really, really important with structuring things with the onboarding side of things, so it doesn't become a time drag on yourself, but it's also something that can massively reduce refund rates, which massively increases the amount of revenue and profitability in any coaching business, especially, and this is the crazy thing, the coaches who have the highest close rates based upon sales strategy are the ones that need to worry about this the most. So a lot of the time, the coaches that are the most inverted commas educated, right? So they've gone through sales training and different things. Very often they've been taught how to overcome objections over and over and over again. And if you are taught like that, so it's not like what it's like with ourselves. I think it's very similar with you as well, which is like there's like zero pressure. like you can't even sign up with us on the call. You jump onto a call and say you want to join private coaching. We say, no, we don't take payment on the call. We send you a link. It's like one more chance for you to back out. So that person doesn't have the feeling of was this or was this not the right decision because it's been theirs. But somebody who is, inverted commas, very good at sales is very good at overcoming objections and increasing the percentage of people who say the word yes at the end of that call and become a client. That person, for all their hard work of becoming great at sales, is the person that's most susceptible to refund requests. And not having the onboarding system dialed in, easy to understand, a great welcome, and done quickly is all things that can end in a lot of refund requests. And people can be like very confused as to why it's happening, but that's it. So what have you seen inside onboarding are some of the key things that people should be looking at or doing or saying so that it's a great first experience for the client?
That's a really good one. I was hoping you'd touch on that because it is really important. There's a balance to be met, and we don't want to overwhelm someone with too many things. So, like as coaches, we're always kind of wanting to give as much value as possible, but we need to make sure that all the content, all the education, or whatever you're going to give to your potential clients isn't going to push them back, because we want to kind of reduce the inputs, reduce the kind of things that they have to do. They're coming to us to get results. You want to maximize the output. You want to make sure that they're going to get the most results without having to do as much, because there's a moment if you send them like 25 videos to watch, all these questionnaires to fill in, they're going to start thinking straight away, I don't have time for this. This isn't for me. And you want to make it, if you want to start giving them video content, great. Part of it should be, not mandatory as such, but part of it should be recommended, and other stuff should be optional, because I've seen some coaches where they're saying like, oh, you need to watch every single video. And people are like, I just don't have time to do that. I don't have time in my day to sit down and watch all these videos. I can't turn up to your Zoom twice a week. I just want to do what you tell, and I'll get the result. And it's a case of that the only way of really judging that is getting feedback on your onboarding process. So maybe like an anonymous survey just to capture data saying, hey, you signed up 30 days ago, would you mind just give me a bit of feedback, because I want to make the experience as good as possible. And if you don't ask that question, you're never going to know. So it's a case of making sure that relationship from the start is getting off on the right foot and the expectations are met. You expect them to kind of check in, watch content that they give you that's like applicable to them, but then in return they need to do, they need to put the work in the gym or with the nutrition, etc. And it's that relationship you need to manage, and doing it as soon as they come through the door is better rather than some nasty surprises like 3 days down. It's like, have you watched your videos? No, I've not had time. And it's like, all right, you need to watch, and it's going to delay. It's going to put a bit of a cloud over the relationship. And I think you need to make sure that that relationship is solid from day one.
Yeah, absolutely class. And I was smiling there when you were going through, people talking about you need to watch every video, you need to be on every single Zoom and all of those things, because the podcast that I recorded yesterday that will probably go out about 2 days before or 2 days after this episode is specifically about the value that you place on something versus the value that your clients place on something. And that most clients that come to a coach, because nobody's buying coaching, they're buying the result, they're buying 3 things. Number one is certainty of that result. So the belief that working with you is a more certain outcome. Second of all is the speed. So instead of it being 12 months, it being 90 days, for example, in their perception of how long it would take to get there. And the third thing is the amount of time and effort that they need to put in on a week-to-week basis to get said result. And so many coaches speak about like all of the things, like the massive things that is available inside their coaching product, like it is a massive plus, rather than saying that these are optional things here that can hold you accountable, make sure that no question ever goes unanswered and things of that nature. Instead, it's things like, we've got over 200 exercise videos, or we have a portal with over 200 hours of educational content. That sounds like a job. That sounds like a full-time job for the person that feels like they don't have time to research how to get in shape. That person is coming to you and spending, anything between 750 and maybe 3.5K, depending upon the coach and the result they're creating and demographics and different things. They're spending so much money because they don't even have time to go and do the research for themselves. So just because it took you a lot of time and you're really proud of what you've created, I'm not even saying educational portals are bad or libraries of exercises are bad. But that library of 200 exercise videos sounds like a lot of work. Repositioned into something along the lines of, we'll tailor your training plan so that you spend the least amount of time in the gym and get the biggest bang for your buck. And guess what? We even have a video that goes alongside every exercise in case you're not sure of exactly how to do it at home or in the gym. That would be a good way to articulate that great thing that you've created versus what feels like a job. So yeah.
I think that's really, it's like the way you say it, they're almost sometimes trying to justify the price they're asking with the amount of features they've got. And it's like, well, I've got a mindset coach, we've got a psychologist, we've got all this. And it's like, I only came to lose a bit of weight. I don't really want all that. And sometimes it can almost have the opposite effect where it's like, well, I don't want to pay for all that. I'm going to go to someone else who's cheaper because I don't need all that. They might, it's a really, that could be a really important part of the coaching process, and it might massively help them get results. But at the initial point, they probably won't see that. They won't see past that part. They're just going to see another thing for me to do. And these days there's a lot of distractions. People just don't have the available time that they maybe once had, or maybe you wish they had. So sometimes we think things are brilliant. And I've learned from my own business in the past when people have joined my academy, the content academy, and it's like, I don't know where to start. There's that much content in there. Like, I'm a bit overwhelmed. It's like, right, we need to strip that back. We need to kind of direct you into certain places, because I don't want people thinking there's so much stuff, but I don't actually know where to start. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you pick out a menu, it's massive. It's like, it takes you so long to choose something. But if you go in and it's got 7 options, you're like, yep, sorted. And it's those little things that can make a big difference.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely love it. So I wanted to end with something that was a little bit more personal, right? Rather than along the content strategy and systems and time saving and coaches and all of those things. You originally were an online fitness coach, right? So before you were graphics for coaches, before you were helping coaches with systems and processes and all of those things, you were an online fitness coach. So today, where does all of that sit in your lifestyle? How does training look to you? How does nutrition look to you? How does lifestyle build into your working week?
Really good question. Like health and fitness has always been important to me. Like going way back when I was in the police, when I joined when I was like 23 until I left when I was 36, 37, something like that. It's always been an important part of my life, and it always will be. That's why I left the police to be a fitness coach, because I was so passionate about being in the industry, helping people get the results, and also for my kind of lifestyle, for my like longevity. So hopefully, like one day. Back then it was like when I have kids. Now I do have kids. It's like I need to make sure that I'm there for them when they're into like, I don't know, 30s, 20s, 30s, however they're going to be and however old I'll be. So it's a massive part, and I think we need to remember that sometimes when we're dealing with clients, is that there's a human being behind the other end, and they've probably got a reason for joining. And like for me, health and fitness will always be important. It is an important part of my life. Nutrition as well, as we know, it's massively important. Yes, we're not robots, and we can't live off spreadsheets, and we can't live off meal plans all our lives, but definitely that's helped shape me as a person to have that kind of structure, the routine, the education behind nutrition, health, exercise, how it can impact, but not just physically, but mentally as well, to have that. Because I know I feel if I'm not trained for a week because of X, Y, Z reasons, I know it affects me. Like sometimes you can put on a brave face, but then you just feel the frustration afterwards. It's like, I need to get back into that. And it's just setting those, like, we do use the word a lot, but like personal standards doesn't sell, but we do have, as coaches, you have personal standards. And I am not a coach as such. Like I'm not a fitness coach. I have been one and I'm still, qualified and everything, but it's not what I do. But I still like to have some form of standards around what I do.
Excellent. And what's your thoughts on this? I've always I was pondering this quite a lot over the last year, really, because I realized so many moments where if my energy went down or my want and drive to do something went down, most commonly I was able to instantly say, what's changed? What's been different? Oh yeah, I haven't exercised in like 2 days. And so like if I haven't exercised, like I don't need to exercise every day, albeit that I usually do. But and I say every day, I mean like 5 days a week, I'll usually exercise, whether it's football, whether it's training in the gym or walking or whatever it may be. But I usually find that if I have had more than 1 day off and it's gone into 2 days off, my energy goes down, my drive for everything else goes down, my sleep quality goes down. Do you see a sort of direct impact on the amount of exercise you're doing and the want and the drive for everything outside of it? So the work and lifestyle and different other pieces.
Definitely. It's funny because I know if I'm having a day or a morning, because I'm most productive in the morning. So like my genius time is like, before lunch, after lunch, I kind of go downhill, and then perk up again like late evening. But yeah, if I'm feeling like foggy, if I'm just feeling like not in the mood, or just there's no creativity there, or I'm struggling to like focus or show interest in what I do, and if I look back, it's like, well, you didn't train yesterday, you didn't eat the best, you didn't train the day before that, your sleep's been poor. Now, having 2 young kids, sleep is one of those things. It's not always going to be great, but you can still try and make time for a bit of tidy nutrition. You can still try and at least get some form of exercise in. So I need to be aware of that, because there are days when I think, I'm just on it today. There's something there that's not right, but it's only when you look back and think there's probably a reason there. And like for me now, like I used to train like 4 or 5 days a week, like religiously. Now it's like I aim for 4, but I'm happy with 3. And just because we're life's out at the moment, business is busy, 2 kids, Leanne, who I'm helping as well with hers, and it's like trying to balance everything, but also still maintain at least a level that I know is like sustainable for me.
Excellent. Superb. Well, this has been an absolutely incredible episode. I've absolutely loved bouncing with you. I'm sure we'll be chatting in the next 24 hours and bouncing ideas and other stuff anyway, but this has been an absolute peach of an episode. Can you let everybody know where they can find out more from you, about you, whether it be you personally or FMS?
Awesome. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. It's been a cracking episode, so thanks for having me on. Graham Hurst. I am Graphics for Coaches on Instagram, and the website is graphicsforcoaches.co.uk, and also the Fitness Marketing Suite, which is fitnessmarketingsuite.com. Hit me up on Instagram, got any questions, and I'm always there to answer.
Excellent. Superb. And if you've got any trial links or this, that, or the other, you can ping them to me after the episode and I'll drop them down below. So anybody listening to this right now, if it's on YouTube, if it's on Apple Podcasts or wherever it may be, scroll down below. There's a good chance that there's something there to fast track and make it easy for you to discover Graham's product suite. Happy days. Right. So thanks so much, man. Really appreciate you. And thanks everybody for tuning in to the Shoney Show.